It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Gabriel Valley today, and we're joined by Cory Ellenson. He's the president of the Glendora School Board, and I want to speak with you about school construction bonds. As we know, the state of California had a bond on the ballot in November, Prop 51, $7 billion for K-12, $2 billion for community colleges. It passed. Part of that bond, though, is looking to local districts to have their own bonds to leverage the dollars. Does Glendora have a local bond?
Not yet, but we want one because we're anxious to get our hands on some of that $7 billion in Sacramento. Because you're right, the only way they're going to give it out is if local school districts spend money on school construction, then you qualify for matching funds from Sacramento.
Sure.
And so we, unlike many of our neighbors, we did not go out for a school bond in 2016. We decided that we wanted more time to develop it and identify our projects and refine our scope. So we will be going out for one, hopefully.
Okay.
We're in the process of developing it right now, hopefully this November or next November.
Right. And as I understand it, how many's on your school board?
5.
5. So if you can get 4 out of 5 to support the bond, you will need 55% of the vote. But if only 3 go, you'll need 2/3. And I know, for example, Beverly Hills Unified had a challenge because they only got 3, and then in November they went for a bond, they got 64%, so it failed.
Yeah.
And so, are you looking towards that?
Our board has always been very unified, and our vision has always been in line. And so we do our best to have a 5-0 vote on almost everything.
I understand.
We should be able to collaborate and find a solution that works for all of us. So something as important as a bond, potentially a $95 million bond.
Right.
We're looking at around $95 million for a school district of 7,500 students. We have 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 1 high school, and a continuation high school. So it's a significant amount of money, and in order to do something like that, we really want all 5 on board.
So what do you hope to do with the bond money should the initiative pass?
We did a complete needs assessment in our district, and like most schools out in the San Gabriel Valley, our schools are very dated. You know, they're 50, 60 years old. Even though we in Glendora Unified did do some rehabilitations about 10 years ago, we need to do more. Much of it, unfortunately, is stuff that you're not going to see when you're driving past the schools. We need bigger bandwidth. Right now, our Wi-Fi system, if every student logged on with a device, the whole system would come down.
Well, maybe we at Charter can help you, but that's another conversation. That's another conversation.
We know we need to improve some of the bones of our school district, but honestly, what I want to see and what many of my board members want to see also is more career tech ed facilities. I would love to have a science lab at every elementary school, robotics labs at the middle schools and high school, and my little bit of a pipe dream is that we might have a welding facility or maybe an auto technology facility at our high school.
Let's talk about career tech, because what's so compelling about the current mood right now coming out of Washington is that there can be a lot of statements made about what's going on, but the one statement that does seem to get uniform or at least near uniform support is a desire to bring jobs back, whatever that may mean, bring jobs back. And if jobs are brought back, they're likely skilled jobs.
Right.
And to get the skills you need, you go to career tech classes.
You're exactly right.
And so what I'm wondering is as you march through this process, are you looking toward what Washington may be doing? You know, look, the president has said he wants to bring auto jobs back from Mexico. So you said auto, you said welding, so maybe you're onto something.
Well, I see my job as a school board member, and all educators really should be looking long-term at one goal. We want our students to be successful when they leave our system.
Right.
So when our students graduate Glendora High School or Whitcomb High School, we want them to be successful in whatever they choose to do. So for me, the focus is workforce development. Look at our workforce, where is there a skills deficit, and that's what I should be preparing my students for. And it's obvious, right now, that deficit is in the technical programs. It's in the trades and vocations that we haven't been preparing students for, and that's where the jobs are.
I want to talk about who attends your schools. When I was growing up, probably when you were growing up, you attended the neighborhood school, and that was it.
Down the street.
Down the street. But there is a move afoot to create some more flexibility. Not so much the voucher debate that's going out of Washington. This is much more conscribed, subscribed, whatever the word may be, prescribed, and it deals with a concept known as districts of choice. Explain that concept, sir.
Well, California schools have been underfunded for quite some time. Nationwide, we're towards the bottom, if not at the bottom.
Although doing better since
we
Prop 30.
are doing better, but still not
I hear you.
quite keeping pace with everyone else. And so during those difficult times, school districts had to come up with unique ways of funding their school districts, create different programs, and as a result, certain school districts kind of rose a little bit up to the top and some kind of lagged behind. Glendora Unified, we rose to the top. We've always been a quality school district. So we had an opportunity to designate ourselves as a district of choice. And this legislation has been around for over 20 years. And what it says is that if you're a high achieving school district like Glendora Unified, and you designate that you're a district of choice, you identify in each grade level how many open spots that you have to fill from students outside your district. The benefit of district of choice is that if you have a space for a student, they get to come in, and their home school district can't keep them there. Under the old system, with the interdistrict transfer, you'd have to get the home district to release that student.
So we're not talking about a kid at one end of Glendora wanting to go to another Glendora school.
It's students outside of Glendora Unified. They're in another school district, but for one reason or another, they want to be a student in Glendora Unified and participate in our curriculum and our programs. And we want them.
And ultimately, you select these students by lottery if you're oversubscribed, correct?
If we don't have enough spots.
And so the law has, as I understand it, been fairly successful.
Yeah.
And the challenge, though, is the law is sunsetting. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is.
Explain to me what's going on there.
Unfortunately, the past few times the legislation has expired, we've only been able to get a quick patch, a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year extension of the program. Last year, former Senator Bob Huff from this area in the San Gabriel Valley put forward legislation to extend it for 10 years. He had a fantastic legislative analyst's office report saying that this program is great. It is giving students opportunities they didn't have before. It is a school choice, but it is school choice within the public school system.
Right, it's not vouchers.
Those of us like me that believe in the public school system, we want to do everything we can to make that successful. And the LAO report identified all of that. Unfortunately, it got hung up in, I believe it was the Assembly Appropriations Committee. The chairwoman of that committee pulled that bill and chose not to hear it in that session. Well, because this legislation is expiring this June 30th, that narrowed our window to extend this legislation down to just a few months.
So what's happening?
Well, there are a few assembly members and senators in Sacramento that are interested in listening to us. They
Dems and Reaps?
Both, correct. That believe, again, in school choice within the public school system. There are significant numbers of students that are already in district of choice programs. Glendora Unified, out of our 7,500 students, 25% come from outside of Glendora Unified. And that's a bit low compared to West Covina Unified, Oak Park Unified, Walnut Valley Unified. We've come together.
Are the dollars following them?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that's some of the reason that the program has been successful, is that it enables Glendora Unified to continue to do what made us successful. So we are working with those assembly members. Assemblywoman Jackie Irwin, who represents the Oak Park Unified District.
Ventura County.
Yes, she has put forward legislation.
And she's a Dem.
She is, and Assemblyman Phil Chen has also put forward
this area,
legislation. And so we're bringing people across the aisle together on something that makes sense for everybody.
And there's a question in our final moments about a cap, how much one district can lose, and you're looking to reform that?
Well, we want to make sure that when students, there is a cap on how much a school district, how many students that district can lose. That cap was meant to be a rolling cap, so that when those students graduate, new students get to come in. Right now, because of a court case, it's a hard cap. So
you're looking to revise that.
It's our job to make sure these assembly members are aware of these intricacies in the law and make sure that when we do renew this legislation, we renew it in a way that makes sense for all school districts.
He is Cory Ellenson. I'm Brad Pomerance. This is Local Edition.